Joining me now to weigh in is retired Army Captain, Purple Heart recipient, and Nevada U.S. Senate candidate Sam Brown, along with California Congressman Darrell Issa. Gentlemen, appreciate you being here on the Salcedo Show. Captain Brown, we're going to start with you. Please comment on the heroism of the veterans group and the cowardice and sliminess of Biden's State Department.
You know, I think it's important to note that one of the beautiful things about the American spirit is that even when there is failures from the top, whether that's the White House with Joe Biden or leaders out of the Pentagon, Americans will step up and get the job done. And we've seen that time and time again, whether it's natural disasters or human-made disasters around this world, Americans step up and contribute in a big way. And it should be no surprise that in many cases, it's our fellow veterans who no longer have to wear the uniform, but choose to go back through the charity of donors across this country and putting their own lives at risk. They will go back and get Americans and those who served us honorably and deserve refuge here in the United States of America. I'm very proud of those who've done that, and we will not allow the leadership failures of our government to dictate what we will accomplish around this world.
Congressman Issa, I was disgusted upon hearing this story that Team Biden was trying to take credit for rescuing Americans that they abandoned. You know, it almost felt like to me was a case of stolen valor. I want you to comment on that. And you're on record saying that there are far more Americans left behind than Biden and his administration are saying, and your office is in contact with some of them. How many do you think are really left behind?
If you do a legitimate count of the U.S. citizens with a blue passport and their immediate family that are with them, you're over 1,000, no question at all. Congressman Mark Wayne Mullen and myself and Babin of Texas and a number of others, we're tracking enough individuals. But here's the problem. This State Department is being so disingenuous. That's how Southerners kindly say liar. They're so disingenuous because what they do is they say those American citizens who want to leave. Well, look, I've got a pregnant American citizen hiding in Kabul with her husband. Well, she doesn't want to leave without her husband, and they're saying, no, he doesn't count, so you're not counting as wanting to leave. So as soon as you say, I won't leave without my immediate family member, then suddenly you don't count. But more importantly, they're only counting those that we've given the documents and they're American citizens and we certify they want to leave. And then when you get to that, then they find themselves hostages sitting on airplanes or in camps paying $4,000, $5,000, and $6,000 each to transit themselves into Tajikistan or one of the other neighboring countries. And when they arrive, having paid the bribes, then suddenly, they've been rescued by the State Department. That's what makes that last one so reprehensible. The groups that did that at great personal risk and financial risk did so they only went through that dozen checkpoints and paid those bribes because the State Department would not get their aircraft cleared where they could have all flown out in comparative safety. That's what we're doing right now. And that's what we're so irritated about, the administration taking any credit when, in fact, the blame they deserve is they will not tell neighboring countries to go ahead and accept our people. They will not tell the Taliban, who's conveniently holding us hostage, that everyone manifested is clear. They're playing the game of, well, if they're all blue passport holders and nobody else. Well, look, if it was that simple, then we'd be dealing with only U.S. citizens. But these are U.S. citizens with family members, husbands, children, and the like.
Yeah, I got to tell you, just when I thought the State Department couldn't get any more anti-American, couldn't get any more slimy, here comes the Biden administration taking our State Department to new lows. Captain Brown, I wanted to get your reaction to White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki on whether the Biden administration will recognize the Taliban as an official government. Listen.
There's no rush to recognition. It is really going to be dependent on what steps the Taliban takes. The world will be watching, the United States included.
Okay. So wait, there's no rush. What would it mean to the Western world if Biden actually recognized, Captain Brown, the Taliban as a legitimate government, a terrorist organization as a legitimate government? And why is it even something they would consider?
Well, Chris, as I said, under the leadership of President Obama in the White House and our Secretary of State and unfortunately leaders at DOD, we are seeing a rapid decline of the United States of America as being a leader of the free world. I don't think it should be any missed expectation that China will be an advocate for the Taliban-led government of Afghanistan when it comes to the UN. They will push very hard. And we know that Joe Biden will not stand up against China. He has largely allowed China to go in and exploit the situation in Afghanistan, among other issues where China needs to be pushed back on. And that's one of the things that President Trump did incredibly well, was to call out China and the threat that they are. And Joe Biden has just rolled over. So we should fully expect that eventually this Joe Biden presidency and our government will acknowledge that, because they don't seem to know how to stand up against China. And this is a much bigger threat beyond just Afghanistan itself. But, you know, I appreciate Congressman Issa and others who are actually standing up and putting their office to work and leading in this and not allowing Americans to forget. By the way, it's just incredible to me that the Afghanistan story is just a news cycle story the Democrats want to wash away. It was the State Department that told us there was over 10,000 Americans there, and they evacuated 5,600. So this 1,000 American estimate certainly must be lowball as well. And Congressman Issa, thank you for continuing to press this and keeping this in the news.
Congressman Issa, I have one last question for you. Only two Democrats have spoken out condemning Biden for leaving Americans behind to the terrorist Taliban. What does it say about the Socialist Democrat Party if they care more about their political power and keeping Joe Biden's worthless reputation intact, if they would sacrifice our own citizens in the process?
It says a lot about Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer's power to kowtow these individuals. But as you say, it also says a lot about their wanting to swim together with this shark and this failure. You know, the Biden administration's claiming it's not a failure, it's a success. And so they're going along with it. But as time goes on, you know, more and more of these people get out that were left behind, that were held hostage, that are sitting on airplanes. The story isn't going to go away. And so I think they do so at their own folly. But, you know, when you mentioned the captain about our position and when we're going to recognize the Taliban, understand that there's kind of a loose situation of, if you let our people out, we'll recognize you. But of course, for Congress, this organization is on a terrorist list. They have to be removed. The other thing, and the one that really bothers me, is they're crushing the Northern Alliance that we left without the capability of defending themselves. The Northern Alliance is being destroyed by U.S. weapons that we left behind. And when that is complete, then there'll be no choice but to recognize that at least they are running the country. And I think at that point, Biden will have met his requirement and he'll recognize them. It'll be after China, but the moment he lets them into the United Nations, he's let an additional terrorist group in the United Nations. Let's remember that Iran is already a member in good standing.
Just nothing but disgrace and dishonor coming from this administration and the entirety of that political party. Retired U.S. Army Captain Sam Brown and Congressman Darrell Issa, gentlemen, thank you very much for your service to the country, all the good work you both have done and are doing. We appreciate it.